Today is a very tragic day for the Saints Row community. The Saints Row Reboot trailer has been released and some depressing news has emerged. It has been confirmed that Idle Ninja has passed away via Twitter today. For those who are new to the Saints Row franchise, Idle Ninja, also known as Mike Watson, was a Saints Row community developer who gave back to the fans. He was very passionate about his work and about the Saints Row franchise overall. Mike Watson was the one behind the Gentlemen of the Row mod for Saints Row 2, the Saints Row 3 replay mod which allowed you to replay the missions, and many other mods for the Saints Row games. Mike Watson's last act on Earth was dedicating what little time he had left to help create the Saints Row 2 official patch for the PC version, which now has been handed over to Volition to complete. In other news, the Saints Row Reboot trailer has been released today, and a lot of Saints Row fans are disappointed. The days leading up to the trailer, Saints Row fans were teased with graffiti on a brick wall, which fans believed was a hint towards a Saints Row 1 or a Saints Row 2-like game that was serious but funny at the same time, a perfect balance. Volition did announce that Saints Row was getting a reboot, which means a brand new city, brand new characters, and brand new designs. However, this new Saints Row is over the top like Saints Row 3 and 4, and many fans are upset at the game. For instance, the characters look like they're from Watch Dogs or Fortnite, and it has been confirmed that yes, you can customize your own character like the previous Saints Row games, but your allies, the guys who you roll with, your gang, they're all scrawny millennials from college that turn to a life of crime to pay off their student loans. Yes, I'm not making this up. In an article titled Saints Row Gets a Gritty Reboot Set in the Weird West by Daniel Cooper, it says the following. Saints Row, the class clown of GTA-esque open world sandbox games, is no more. In its place is Saints Row, a reboot of the series with a back-to-basics focus on ground-level crime and violence. In the 7 years since Get Out of the Hell was released, we're not counting Agents of Mayhem, the world has moved on, and so too must Saints Row. Welcome to the Weird West. The new game is called Saints Row, which we're told has no subtitle, despite the repeated use of the word self-made tagline even on the box art. The game is set in Santo Ileso, which means uninjured saint, a stand-in for America's Four Corners region, which the developers are calling the Weird West. There are Route 66 signs scattered all across the landscape, and the desert that surrounds the city, with its patchy grass and tall mesas, looks a lot like Arizona. The neon-strewn casino district El Dorado seems to be inspired by those found in Albuquerque. And the financial area, at least from the trailers and to my eyes, seems to have been pulled from downtown Santa Fe. Santo Ileso is made up of 9 individual districts, with each one designed to use a different traversal method. Running and driving will work best in some regions, while players are encouraged to fly a wingsuit off the top of the financial district skyscrapers to cover long distances. Or you can steal a VTOL equipped craft and just make merry havoc all over the city as you go. The game was built in a brand new, as yet unannounced engine, and these new environments are designed to take advantage of the power that next-gen consoles, if we can still call them that, can offer. The developers say that the Saints Row's focus is, at least early in the game, going to focus on the material concerns of its young crew. These disaffected millennials turn to a crime to, for instance, put food on their table, feel part of a community, and pay off their student loans. Chief Creative Officer Jim Boone says that it's broadly a contemporary millennial power fantasy. It's only later that the game's focus switches to the sort of empire building that in the previous series eventually saw your character become, like President. As the game progresses, players can buy property and businesses, which opens up new game modes and levels. You can choose where to put those businesses too, like putting a garbage collection site in the middle of the financial district. The choices you make here will, for instance, engender resistance if you start putting toxic waste next to whatever the 1%ers live and work. And as you take over more of the city, the bigger your power base will grow. The storyline sees your ragtag quartet encounter 3 distinct gangs, each of which owns a chunk of Santo Ileso. The Panteros, for instance, are a bunch of muscle car enthusiasts who try to use their superior strength to defeat you in combat. Marshall Defense Industries, meanwhile, is a local weapons developer with its own mercenary army equipped with a range of sci-fi weapons and superior marksmanship. Then there are the Idols, a group of kawaii cyberpunk anarchists wearing light-up cat ear helmets who overwhelm you with numbers in a fight. As far as we know, references to Steelport, the Third Street Saints, Johnny Gat, Kenzie, and anything else from the prior series are gone, or at least will be neglected to the odd, deeply buried Easter eggs for diehard fans to root out and find. In their place is a trio of characters that work to support your player's unnamed and customizable protagonists. There's Ellie, pictured second from the right, an MBA student who works as the team's planner, speaking in the language of startups, investment, and business. Then there's Neenah, pictured right, the team's driver, who had aspirations of becoming an anthropologist but got sucked into working as a mechanic for Los Panteros. Rounding out the quartet, of which you are the fourth member, is Kevin, pictured left, a topless, thrill-seeking DJ who, like his fellow idols, loves wearing a kawaii cyberpunk helmet and wreaking havoc. The player character is, as before, infinitely customizable, although it's not clear how broad those options are. Deep Silver says that you'll have access to the most advanced suite of customization tools ever seen in an open world game. One of the questions raised in the roundtable with the game's developers was that of cultural appropriation. The 6 people made available for interview were all middle-aged white men, creating a game set in a region where a significant portion of the population is Latinx, that's with an X, or Hispanic. Creative director Jim Boone said that diversity was important and that there was an explicit focus on making the team producing the game as diverse as the characters are in it. Inspiration. In terms of what we can expect from the new title, Boone said that some of the major inspirations for this game came from the cinema. He cited 3 titles, John Wick, Baby Driver, and Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, as key influences. From the first, you will be able to spot some of the brutality in the combat and some of the melee takedown moves as cribbed from the film's action sequences. The experience of driving has been pulled from the second, while the third's penchant for the over-the-top helped provide a baseline for how stunts would work in the new game. There will also be a broad degree of Fast and Furious inspired vehicle customization in which every playable ride can be fixed up. The desert that surrounds Santo Ileso, for instance, has plenty of rough terrain that can be used to crest dunes and chase or evade your enemies. Consequently, players can even jury-rig the game's garbage truck as a heavy-duty off-road vehicle. Playing together. Saints Row is coming to the PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and for PC gamers, the Epic Games Store. The developers said that the cross-platform co-op will be available from the start, and you can play the entire campaign through untethered co-op play. One thing that was mentioned was the ability to prank your co-op partner, stemming their progress in order to advance your own. The elephant in the room. There are more than a few reasons why Volition chose to make Saints Row rather than Saints Row 5. Boone said that the classic series of games were very much of their time, with tastes and attitudes having moved on, and it can't have helped the company's last attempt at a reboot. Agents of Mayhem received lukewarm reviews and poor sales, forcing Volition to make layoffs in its wake. Lead mission designer Jeremy Bernstein added that the original story by the end of Get Out of the Hell had burned through all of its narrative runway. When the player protagonist has conquered Earth, ascended to godhood, and escaped hell, there's not much you can do to top it. But is it still fun? The team wanted to assure us that while the juvenility that marked the previous series was gone, the irreverence would remain. Bernstein said that it would be pretty much impossible to make a grimdark Saints Row game for obvious reasons. And while the developers didn't elaborate much on silly weapons like the penetrator from Saints Row III, which was a dildo, and the dubstep gun from Saints Row 4, they did say that 1 or 2 had made their way into the title. And insurance fraud is back. You'll once again be able to ragdoll yourself into incoming traffic. Saints Row is scheduled to launch on February 25th, 2022 for current and next-gen consoles. Wow, there's a lot of info revealed in this article. The developers say that the Saints Row gang is composed of resentful millennials that turn to a life of crime to put food on their table, feel part of a community, and pay off their student loans. Wow, you can't make this up. Imagine a group of college kids gathering together and saying, hey, let's make a gang and let's commit crimes to pay off our student debts. I'm just sorry, this is the most stupidest idea for a game I have ever heard. The reason for making a gang to pay off student loans, that's really, really stupid writing. And Chief Creative Officer Jim Boone says that it's broadly a contemporary millennial power fantasy, whatever that is. See, the problem is Jim Boone thinks that millennials would love this game since rich people bad, but no, millennials just want to feel like a gangster. It's called Saints Row, it's not called Millennial Simulator. Millennials don't want to play as themselves in a depressing apocalyptic world. I honestly had faith in this game. I actually thought that Deep Silver finally listened to the fans, because if you go on their Twitter, they're super active. They're always communicating with their fans back and forth. People have been spamming Saints Row 2 Remake for the past 7-8 years, and you would have thought that by now they would have caved in and listened, but nope, they did the complete opposite. It's like an insult to what Saints Row fans stand for. From Volition's point of view, I guess I get it. They saw Grand Theft Auto as a competitor and did not want to compete against them after Saints Row 2, so they took a completely new direction which was over the top. But who gives a shit what Volition thinks? Volition should care what their consumers, their fans, the guys who buy their games think. I say fuck Grand Theft Auto. Go back to making games without the fear of it being compared to another franchise. Grand Theft Auto was not the first open world sandbox game, and Saints Row is not a GTA clone. It's clear to see that Deep Silver does not listen to fans. They'll talk to fans all they want, but in the end, they're not going to go ahead and listen to what they have to say. There's no way that Deep Silver can save this game. Saints Row, the reboot, releases on February 25th, 2022. And no gameplay will ever save this game. The story matters way more, and the story for Saints Row Reboot is simply not what Saints Row fans were expecting or even asking for. No one wants to play as scrawny millennials who can't even color coordinate with their peers. Like when I was watching the Saints Row trailer, it took me about 30 seconds to realize it was a Saints Row game. I wasn't even sure if the Saints Row are purple or blue, like they're all wearing different colors, and they do not look like a gang to me, honestly. What do you guys think about the new Saints Row? Are you willing to give it a shot? Will you pre-order it? I personally am disappointed that the game did not go back to its roots to Saints Row 1 and Saints Row 2. A remaster of the first two games would be great. However, I am still disappointed that they pulled a Ubisoft by already announcing 3 separate versions of the game before the game's even out. There's a base game, there's a gold edition, and there's a platinum edition. Honestly, all these game companies need to release the full version of their game on the release date with all the DLCs. All this bullshit with DLCs and all that shit, get this Ubisoft shit out of here. Like, Saints Row has just devolved, honestly. The base game costs $60, the gold edition, which includes all the DLCs, is $90, and the platinum edition, which is basically the gold edition but also includes Saints Row the 3rd Remastered, is $100. And honestly, this is all bullshit. Complete bullshit. Like, stop with this. Just release the full game on release date. Oh yeah, and if you have a PC, guess what? This game's gonna be an Epic Games Store exclusive, and I don't know, maybe it's gonna be an exclusive for a year or two, and then it's gonna be released on Steam later, just like the Saints Row the 3rd Remastered. So what do you guys think, the fans? Will you be buying this game and supporting Volition, or will you be voting with your wallet and pass on this game, let it pass, fuck this game, and let Volition know that this is not what the fans want? Let me know what you think in the comments below.